Howdy everybody. In the glass today is the Michel Huard aged at Michel Couvreur first release of this particular Calvados. Now, I have the collected works of Edgar Allan Poe out here for a bad pun to begin with. This particular one is here because this is a cask of Amontillado. Now, Michel Huard is a producer in kind of the Suisse Normand or Suisse Normand area of Calvados that very much is hilly and looks closer to Switzerland than the flatlands that we normally associated with the region. Now, Jean-François Guillouet is the current proprietor and the fifth generation behind the helm at Michel Huard, and he is a producer that both does it as his parents and grandparents have done, as well as someone who's open to trying some new things. And that kind of is where this one comes in. Now, Michel Huard's importer, Charles Neal, kind of approached him probably several years ago and asked if he would be willing to put some of his product forth and allow to be aged somewhere else to kind of play around with one of Charles's thought experiments. The thought experiment was the following. If you have a higher proof and you age it in a very wet cellar, does the alcohol drop? Now, before this, he had kind of made contact with the maitre d'archet for Michel Couvreur, and was seeing if he would be open to allowing somebody else's spirits to be aged in their very wet cellars in Burgundy. That is kind of very much what has come to pass, and they kind of got this started in 17, 18, 19. Already had the spirits transferred over before the start of the COVID shutdowns, and time marched on. Now, this particular one, as you can see, was bottled in May of 2021 after spending 2 years in that Amontillado barrel. And as a result, it has kind of dropped its alcohol percentage from like right around the 46 change to 43.5 naturally over the course of time in that very wet cellar in Burgundy. Now, this particular lot was made up of about 15% of 1992 and 1990, combined with about 85% of stuff or releases from the 2008 and 2009 distillations. It was basically 2 barrels worth that were transferred from Calvados to Burgundy, where Michel Couvreur is located. And as a result, you kind of have some of those aged qualities as well as those more youthful nature. You can kind of see from the glass that this is a little bit darker, a little bit more sherried than which we normally find in a Calvados, which kind of makes sense because it did spend 2 years in a sherry barrel. Now, the fun thing we liked about this is that at the end of the day, it still smells like Calvados. It still has that baked apple tart, cooked stone fruits, but it also has picked up some really nice kind of almond paste, forest floor, warm baking spice element coming through from the extra time in sherry barrel. Delightful. On the palate, there's just that really extra bit of richness from that sherry barrel, as well as that little flaky pastry dough, cooked fruit, marzipan, as well as a little bit of like an earth characteristic coming through. I think the wonderful thing about this first release of this collaboration, if you will, is that it is kind of the thought experiment come to fruition. Yes, the alcohol did drop after 2 years in a very cold and wet cellar, but it was the act of doing it with Michel Couvreur which kind of made it quite interesting and delightful. My understanding is this first release for the United States comes in like right around 560 bottles plus or minus 10. And it's one of those where you do get really nice kind of richness and depth of flavor. There's nothing quite like this. And we are oh so very happy to have it in the glass for you today. I'm enjoying and I hope you do too. Cheers, stay safe, and be well.